Good work, sir. So this is kind of like a master class in your entire process. You kind of took us from beginning to end, sort of.
They say storytelling is a powerful thing.
Yeah.
And I had problem with storytelling because it didn't work for my articles, made them too long.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I found that if I'm on stage, I can actually hold people's attention for just long enough, usually about a classroom sort of setting. If you go past 40 minutes, people just fall asleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a little bit easier to control with different mediums, like on-stage presence or video. Articles, yeah, a little bit more difficult.
We've got some time. I want to dive into some of the details of what you went over. I'm a huge Webmaster Tools geek, so I was really excited to hear you talk about that. You started off with downloading all the keywords. My favorite thing is to go straight into keywords by URL. Do you ever find value in that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Mapping is essential because if you don't consider the impact of all cumulative keyword pool towards each URL, you can't really prioritize for which page you're building that extra content. You might have an e-commerce website with 10,000 products. Where do you begin?
Yeah.
To write a really good piece that's going to get you media attention, that's going to get journalists writing about it, you need to spend like $2,000 on that content. Research, fine crafting, media, whatever. You can't do that for 10,000 products. But you can focus on your top 10 URLs and maybe invest all your money in those 10 because that's your 80-20, right? You focus on the 20 that's going to make the biggest impact. So that's why mapping all that is super important.
One thing that you reminded me of, Ollie Gardner earlier today was talking about buttons, what to put in a button text. And I found in Google, when I use Google Search Console data, if I find the keywords that are top ranking for that page, and I incorporate that text into the call to action, I see a much higher click-through rate. So like if it's the top keyword is buy vitamins, and I incorporate that into the button, more people are going to click it. I think those things are clever.
That's actually an interesting thing because I was self-promoting that article on Moz about user behavior signals. There's a piece in there about click bias in Google search results. There's a number of research papers that Google has published already that deals with click bias. And click bias is the same thing as when you're running a survey. You randomize the results because otherwise people will just, by default, click on the top result. So this is really one of the key pieces of information here. Google does use click-through rate as a quality signal. There's absolutely no doubt about that. I think it's safe to say. They can deny it all they like.
Yep.
Why? Because they spent a considerable amount of time dealing with click bias. They understand when result number one gets more clicks because it's number one, and they try to equalize that to create an objective vision of the quality of all top 10 results on the page. Not only that, but they've gone into research around keyword appearing in the title and biasing the impact, biasing the click behavior of a user. Tick, right?
Yep.
So that was a huge factor for them. So in their paper, Google suggested that they should remove the bolding in the title for a search query to remove that bias. So this is an academic paper. About a year after that paper was published, Google removed. If you search something for a query in Google, in the title tag, in the title of the search snippet, you no longer see the bolded term. So that happened about a year after the research paper was published. I find that really, really interesting.
It is very interesting. And incorporating those high click terms into your titles, into your copy, it's kind of a secret sauce that a lot of people don't know about. So, shh. Okay, one question I want to ask you. Dejan is a marketing company, right? And you're getting links about NASA. You're getting links about hoverboards, which we may talk about later. How important is the topical relevance of those links? Because some people would say, it doesn't really have anything to do with marketing. Are those links helping you?
Look, links that are not themed are significantly less value. And I have been dealing with this problem. I mean, I will never turn down a link.
Right.
Of course, if a NASA website links to my homepage, that's like really weird. Google will probably think it's hacked or something like that. So topical relevance, if I built a search engine, I would use it as a factor. So one of the ways of dealing with this, what I would do is I would kind of like, it was a little bit sneaky. So imagine you have a boring e-commerce page, just an ordinary product, but then competitions. I know, in fact, Wojtek will be doing a session about competitions, or has already done it. Stay tuned for that one. Say, if you're running a competition, and on a second tab, you have competition rules. So you actually spread to your email database and to bloggers and all this that you're giving away these free products. And you put a hash competition on your existing URL. Mm-hmm. So when people, as part of the competition, they link to that page, they automatically switch to the competition rules and apply here and blah, blah, blah. And in the end, you actually publish the winners. You announce the winners on that same page, on the boring product page. That was my way to theme. So it's a giveaway of some boring product, but it's valued pretty highly. So we have a theme. I'm not having a separate competition URL that generates link to a page that doesn't need it.
Right.
So I'm getting the links to the page that matters through the hash or a tab or whatever, for as long as users and trigger it. Just keep in mind, whatever you hide under a new tab, it's just not going to rank. Yeah. Simple as that.
So the link can be slightly off topic, but you're sending all that link juice, for lack of a better term, to highly relevant pages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for example, if one of my landing pages is dejanseo.com.au/Sydney. It's our Sydney location page. And people from Sydney find that first page when they're searching in the local pack. When I run an event in Sydney, I plug in the event content on that landing page. Yeah. We do hash event, people land on that, we promote that. So that gives me the themed links to that page. As far as media exposure and people talking about all this scientific stuff, it's very difficult to get themed links unless you really manipulate.
So, okay, I want to dive into some audience questions here. We only have a few minutes left. A number of people were asking about the Google surveys and the reliability of the data. People are sort of questioning, did people actually prefer McDonald's, or was it a sampling issue, or what do you think was going on there? How well do you trust that data?
I also used the Google surveys to run my How People Read research, and I did a follow-up study, and I got the same results. So it's consistent. And I actually had the same question myself, because I was spending a lot of money on Google surveys, and I was wondering about the accuracy of it. Then what I did, I signed up as a respondent to the survey. And I was on the other side of that experience. And Google has nice little neat tricks. They ask you silly little questions, and they see if you answer with like 0 or no or whatever, and they don't send you any more surveys. So those who answer too quickly, in fact, they actually give you a message. Ooh, you answered that a little bit too quick. Are you sure?
So they qualify people ahead of time.
They actually have quality assurance mechanisms built in within the audience sample. And by the way, this is not just an app that for people who want to be surveyed. People run into Google surveys on premium content. So they want to finish reading a bit of content. Instead of paying or subscribing to a magazine, they can click through and answer a question and unlock that remainder of the content, which gives a really broad scope of people who answered that. So far, I've been very happy with the results. But why focus on Google surveys only? I just do it because I'm lazy and it works for me. But you can do any other survey platforms. In fact, you can use your own client's website and your own agency websites to run surveys if it's got enough traffic and get results that way. We've got Queensland government in Australia provides data for free. All the stuff, like even crime stats and accidents and all that data is everywhere. And the key with that is why you're running these surveys. One is to learn something and improve your website or learn something that's valuable to the client. But the other one is to be the source of the news for the journalists. That's the key. So as far as reliability goes, I'm not worried just yet.
Fair point. I think this is a really smart question. The Sydney outreach that you talked about, did it work? Did you actually get a higher position because of that?
Yes.
Yep. So cool.
Yeah.
That's all we need to know.
Oh, we have only just begun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're planning to do follow-ups now. Remember what I said? We're not just going to focus on McDonald's. We're going to go every next restaurant and do a little mini campaign on that.
Very cool.
The problem with that link is that it just said Wimdu.
Right.
It wasn't saying anything in anchor text, but I was going to go and try to change that.
A lot of people don't know this, but you run Algoroo, which is the algorithm tracker.
It's Aussie Mozcast.
Yeah, exactly. What's your prediction about the next Penguin update?
Well, actually, I thought the Penguin already happened like last week, like a little test, and they kind of pulled it back.
Yeah, so maybe that was just a preview?
I saw a little blip. If you go to algoroo.com, you'll see a little spike. Actually, it was a dip.
Yeah.
So typically before a Penguin, what we see is they kind of turn off a lot of other things. So you see a dip in the SERP flux, and then after that it goes boom. Except this time we didn't see much. And one of the other, is it SERP Watch or something like that?
Could be.
They did a deeper analysis because their tool goes a little bit more in depth into, you can filter things, and it seems to be impacting adult industry. So adult industry went all the way into red.
Oh, wow.
So it looks like an update that was more around adult industry than everything else. In terms of Penguin expectations, I'm going to trust Google when they say it's going to happen this year. But what I would really like to see is the Penguin flux, rather than just them pushing manual buttons. So far, Penguin's been a huge disappointment to me, by the way. I don't think it's done its job just yet.
Yeah. Well, maybe something before the end of the year.
Yeah. Are you guys scared of the Penguin, or are you like,
no,
you've earned all your links and you're fine, you can comfortably sleep at night?
Yeah.
A bit nervous?
Nobody here will be penalized. That's the marketing festival bonus. Final question: how often do you ride your hoverboard?
Oh, I have some.
For people who don't know, it's an actual hoverboard made with cooled liquid nitrogen and all sorts of stuff.
Yes. So there's a guy in Israel that sells superconductors. You can buy Type 2 superconductor from this guy. You just Google it, and they had like a summer special recently. So funny. So buy some liquid nitrogen, as you would normally do in your shop, local grocery store. Pour it, cool it, put it over a magnet. It'll just hover. It's just amazing. The problem is, I need a lot more superconductors, and they're like $200 each. So I calculated I need about $10,000 worth of superconductors to hold my weight. So far, my hoverboard can sustain a weight of a hamster. And I can put a hamster on it and just go.
I think that would be a viral video.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, if you want to look it up, I think search for, designseo.com.au/flux. And you'll be able to see that video.
And you had a very complex deck here that will be available later online to download, and the tools. It was phaseresearch.com, right?
Yes, that's right.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Dan Petrovic.
Thank you.
All right. Nice work.
Cheers.
Thank you.